Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I am here with Adam Winters, who is not the last American hero, but we
Oh,
watched The Last American Hero today, or this last couple days, from 1973, fictional movie about Junior Johnson, NASCAR driver.
based on, do we want to get into the history of it?
Go for it.
So it's not so much based on Junior Johnson specifically, but inspired, both in title and in otherwise, by Tom Wolfe's article, famous, historically important article that he contributed to Esquire magazine in the 1960s. Do you have the year pulled up? March 1965 is what I have
Yes.
here. And the title of that article, I did not read it. I'm sure I could if I wanted to track it down. It has some nice pictures in it. Saw a documentary on it. Is titled "The Last American Hero is Junior Johnson." Yes. Did you read about why that article is historically important?
I thought about it and then decided I didn't really want to.
Well, in my opinion, the real story is probably not that interesting, but Tom Wolfe, not only did it elevate Junior Johnson's name and his fame, but it elevated Tom Wolfe to be considered one of the most innovative and talented writers in the world. And it is cited as kicking off two different new things. One of them is called the concept of new journalism. The other is the concept of the new South. Any of that ring a bell for you?
Maybe back in the day.
All right. I don't think it's all that interesting because it's everybody's opinion on what is new. New journalism is broadly defined as trying to bridge the gap between fictional writing and all the creativity and the floweryisms and the vivid pictures of fiction with actual journalism, reporting on people, places, and things as they happen. So what Tom Wolfe does, he goes down to see a NASCAR race in the 1960s when Junior Johnson is still an active and successful driver. And I believe he goes all the way down to North Wilkesboro Speedway, which I think is the home track of Junior Johnson, or at least it's in Wilkes County down there. And he observes all the fanfare. And he observes that a lot of the people who come to watch the race are kind of similar to him. And they're Southerners, but they're not really hillbillies. Not all of them. They go down. They're kind of, it's the new South. They're starting careers, but they're very much attracted to that old primal appeal of stock car racing, and that's still the arena where all the Southerners recognize men can prove their courage. Both the drivers and the people who work on the cars and all that spectacle. And so he molds Junior Johnson because of his backstory into this larger than life hero who grew up, thumbing his nose at the law because of the moonshine runs, working for his daddy. But now, because of all those skills he developed as an outlaw, has become this figure that everybody wants to touch. They want an autograph. They want to shake his hand, talk to him, meet him, have even Junior Johnson sign his autograph on the back of their hand, and maybe they'll get it tattooed. So the outlaw has become the hero who's right at the top of what the Southerners appreciate about courage. Somebody who rose to the top on his own terms. So he makes this larger than life story where he's very vivid in his word pictures, and he uses a lot of hyperbole, and that's why it becomes known as the new journalism. And it brings attention to the new South, and it makes Junior Johnson a household name, probably a few years before Richard Petty would be considered a household name. Then we get a movie 10 years later, eight years or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, so this movie, is this, like, they don't really tell you when it's supposed to be taking place at.
It looks contemporary for whenever contemporary is for this movie.
Yes.
72 or 73.
Yes, my dog is barking at people walking in front of my house. Kind of love it.
I do. I love it, man. Harley never runs out of energy to bark at the neighbors.
It's what she lives for, other than looking at me and
Yeah,
hearing
man.
my voice as I record with you and wondering what is the other voice that she can't quite hear. She has to wait for the edit for that. But, well, I mean, they use stock footage from 72, so by default, it has to be kind of set in 72. There's no STP off-brand Richard Petty back in the day. I love their name for him, Kyle Kingman, right on the nose right there. You get your alliteration, you get Richard's kid, and you get the king in the name.
Did Junior Jackson have something against Richard Petty?
I don't think so.
I heard he didn't care for Rick Hendrick because, he always viewed Hendrick as a guy who just sort of bought his way into NASCAR team ownership as opposed to working his way up.
I don't think Johnson liked anybody, for what it's worth.
He apparently sabotaged Darrell Waltrip when, in the last year of Waltrip's contract, he was eligible for the championship, but he had made it known he was going to take a deal with Rick Hendrick. And Darrell Waltrip, to this day, I'm pretty sure believes Junior Jackson sabotaged him in that last race because he was leaving.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me either way at all. But yeah, so he's really racing in the 50s. The movie's based in the early 70s. He retired in 66. Went into car ownership.
Yeah. And with Cale Yarborough, right? Well, maybe that'll come up later. But
well, I have notes, and this is one of those things where 15 years ago, I would just know all this stuff. And it's just been a long time, honestly.
Wikipedia is not as thorough as I would like it to be for all these old races.
Oh, no. David Pearson was the 21, right?
Wood Brothers. In this year, 72, 73. I don't know about before that.
Yeah, so I think it was Cale Yarborough driving the 12.
No, that was Bobby Allison.
Oh, it's Bobby Allison. Yeah.
I did look
so
this
Bobby
up.
Allison is driving the car that Junior Jackson is pretending to drive in this movie, and to just kind of get you all sideways in your memory.
We'll have to talk about that because it's a weird decision they make with their stock footage. I mean, it's real footage they made, but it's...
And at the right track. It's Martinsville. And then the race before that is Hickory.
I thought they were supposed to be racing at North Wilkesboro by the end of this.
No, the pace car has Martinsville on the side, so they're not trying to hide it. I don't know if they say it out loud.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that I wasn't sure about.
But it is Martinsville, and I don't recall them ever calling it North Wilkesboro.
They just referenced it a few times in the movie. I mean, you're right. I had to look this up, but the race at the end of the movie is a genuine NASCAR Top Series event, and it is the September 1972 Old Dominion, 400 or 500?
It was 400 laps.
So it'd have to be the 400 then.
Yeah.
Half-mile track, but 400. Old Dominion 400 at Martinsville, which was, in real life, won by Richard Petty, even though Bobby Allison dominated the event, except for the last 50 laps or so. And there was controversy as opposed to how Richard stole the win from Allison.
Right. So before we get into the movie itself, box office a whopping $1 million in the United States and Canada, budget of $2 million.
Oh, it's a bomb then, huh?
It's a low key bomb. It's only he lost $1 million.
Surprised Jeff Bridges' career got off the ground.
Well, it's so funny to think that this movie got made. Like, kind of similar to what we were talking about last week. It's such a regional sport. If these people had been established, I think it would have done well. But Jeff Bridges is pretty much brand new. And Ned
Beatty?
Ned Beatty or Batty or...
Betty. Beatty.
I think it's Betty, actually. But, yeah,
Betty.
So he's in all the movies back in the day. It's weird to see Gary Busey in a role where he's not crazy yet. And can pronounce his words.
I think he's a little bit crazy. Oh, okay.
And I don't recognize most of the other people. You got a pit lizard, Marge.
No, that's Miss Teschmacher. Come on.
Well, I know, but she played the pit lizard.
The pit lizard? Define that for me.
A pit lizard, not the pit lizard.
She's more of a roadie, isn't she?
She's hooking up with whoever's winning.
Oh, I didn't know that's how it was defined. A pit lizard.
Yeah.
Okay.
In wrestling, you have ring rats, and racing, you have the pit lizards or the helmet lickers or there's some other words for it. But yeah, she's definitely playing that role. She likes Junior Jackson, but not quite willing to commit.
She's one of those women you're gonna lose all your money before you have it. You hook up with her.
Yeah.
I'm like, Junior, when she goes to Junior later in the movie and asks for the ride home, I'm like, Junior, man, don't do it. Don't do it, Junior. Leave her be.
It's weird that's kind of how this movie goes. Because in real life, if I'm not mistaken, Junior Jackson, he wasn't married to her, but he had like a high school sweetheart he was with like 30 years, didn't he?
Did he not marry the high school sweetheart?
Let's see here. Um, he had a marriage to childhood sweetheart Flossie Clark.
Oh, the name like Flossie. Let's look at.
Yeah, they've been together since the early 50s. They got divorced in 92. Then he had another
That's
marriage.
about when he gave up on NASCAR. He gave up on NASCAR in 94. I had read that he retired from team ownership in 94 to go back to his farm and raise his daughters. Which, again, you'd think, that's a pretty old guy for raising daughters.
Well, there's no telling how many he had floating around. But no, even the Richard Petty character, like, they're all with this pit lizard.
Even, like, one of the other drivers, it suggested that he had a fling with her.
There was a few guys where I couldn't quite figure out who they were supposed to be. But yeah, Dave Bayer, who really did look like DW, whether or not he's supposed to be or not. And then there was...
our boy Lane Smith. Come on now.
Yeah, there we go. I was looking for the name. Playing Rick Penny. And at first, you kind of think he's a DW type character. It's a little... I'm not sure who he's supposed to be. But
well, he gets kicked out of his ride, apparently, so that Junior can take it.
Well, he's a whiny little dude, though. I mean, he's kind of asking for it.
It's played up like he's past his prime anyway. You know, the sport has passed him by a little bit.
Yeah, and they kind of use that character. I don't know what the moral of this movie is, but I know it seems to be you got to die in your principles. Like his father, he went to jail for a year. You know, in real life, it was Junior Johnson for moonshining, and he just couldn't give up that life. It was the principle of the matter, so to speak. He wouldn't renounce it. And then Junior Johnson wants to race for himself because he wants to make a name for himself and do it his way. Old Frank Sinatra-esque. But he doesn't. But he's getting lectured by Rick Penny about how you can't, like, the rookies always think they know everything. In real life, that's not how the world works. And you got to have sponsorship and you got to have ownership. You just can't do it all yourself.
And at the end of the movie, Dad kind of beats it into him too at the end.
Yeah. And then ultimately he takes the deal with the guy who fires Rick Penny.
Bert or something like that. He looks like the guy. He looks like the guy in the Willy Wonka movie. Is that him, Scudworth or Skidworth?
I think it's Burton Colt. But yeah, in terms of this movie, and you know he gets better terms at the end after he wins his race, but he ultimately goes to work for the man. So is the moral of the story don't sell out, or is the moral of the story if you want to be successful, you better sell out?
Well,
the irony is he owns a team later on.
So I found this movie. I liked it. And I probably like it more the more I think about it. But my big criticism of it is that it feels like a part one of something.
Yeah. I don't think there was ever a planet where there'd be a part two, but...
It just, at no point does it really make the case that Junior Jackson is the last American hero. Because you have to have some kind of a scene where everybody comes just to see him. You know, you have to make that at some point in the movie.
Yeah, and they kind of play that up when he's at the little small track at the beginning. I don't even know if they named.
No.
Where
the Ned
he won
Betty
like
track?
10 times. Yeah, the Ned Betty track.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird movie. It's like he's playing the last American hero, this rebellious guy doing it in his own way, until he realizes he can't do it that way anymore. And he sells out, which maybe that is the most American thing to do anyways. You know, yeah. But like at the end of the movie, we know that he's got his crew back. That they're going to get to work for him again, but they don't necessarily know that, and they don't like look real thrilled when he says, "Hey, we won," and goes into the press box. I don't know. I like the movie, but it's got issues. You got Jeff Bridges as Elroy Jackson Jr., Junior Johnson. He's got a brother, Wayne Jackson, Gary Busey.
Yeah.
And I think, Art Lund does great as his father. And
Jackson Sr., Elroy Sr.
Yes. And then you got Mrs. Jackson, who I can't find the name of, but never seen her before. So I'm not sure if she played anything else. And that poor lady, she's got a moonshining husband who won't stop. She's got a racing kid who won't stop. And she's got I guess he works at the junkyard, old Gary. And, he's honest living, but probably not making much. And she's just kind of stuck in the middle.
She makes pie for him, I think.
Yeah. And waits for him to get out of jail and the local cops arrest
Geraldine this is a great name. Geraldine Fitzgerald.
Too many syllables.
I like it. Geraldine Fitzgerald.
And they have a typical redneck looking dynamic if you're doing moonshine, but basically the dad's got a still and Junior, takes it, drives it, drops it off, and gets the checks, and Brick comes home, and he never ends up getting arrested in the movie, but the dad does, and it's unclear how many times he's been arrested, but ultimately he goes in there for a year, and Junior's got to figure out how to pay for the legal bills and take care of his mom, and that's when he really kind of dives into the racing stuff. First with the Demolition Derby and then a preliminary, and then just running the main shows at Ned Betty's track.
I feel like the Demolition Derby was a big gamble as to whether whatever you win is worth tearing up a usable car that you own.
Yeah, I guess they took a car from the junk lot. Brother had. I'm not really sure.
I thought the other brother was driving it earlier in the movie. Maybe I got it mixed up with something else.
He could have been. But yeah, and he makes a little bit of money, and then eventually gets into it with Ned, and kind of gets kicked off the track because he's wrecking too many people. Though they never really show him wrecking people. They just imply that he wrecks anything that moves.
One driver goes to fight. He pulls a Denny Hamlin, and he tries to fight him while he's at the start-finish line doing his victory celebration, getting the checkered flag. And then for some reason, Ned Betty gets into it, and he gets punched as well. And then he gets all hissy-fitty while, writing the check to Junior. Junior threatens to hit him with his trophy. It's kind of a weird bit, It's like the police probably ought to get involved at some point.
Yeah, and it's also, like I said, they use stock footage for a lot of this stuff. So when you're using stock footage and you don't necessarily have the car just being driven in the stock footage, it can get difficult to show that they're rubbing racing too much. But they're trying to imply that he's just been hitting everybody. And that's what sets him off to go off to Hickory, and he ends up having to save some money up for this car that may or may not last, and then it doesn't. But yeah, he gets a good car, goes up to Hickory, meets the pit lizard.
I like the Kmart scene. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and we get introduced to all the rivals at this point, because even though it is very obvious that this Hickory race is not as big as the Martinsville race later on, it is considered part of the National Series, and you get some kind of off-brand NASCAR flags in the background.
And very, very off-brand race cars, even though the imaginary NASCAR drivers they invented for this movie, everybody drives a different car than what we see them in the Martinsville race.
Yes, and we just assume that's the different series. Possibly a different year, don't really know, but I feel like they could have done something a little bit different there. It would have been nice to have some continuity, because why do these people all have much better sponsors the next week? But I don't know.
Do you think the first thing this movie crew did was they got footage from the 1972 Martinsville race, and for the 10 minutes or whatever they filmed, Richard Petty and Bobby Allison were running near the front. And then they just decided, okay, we got this footage. Now we're going to build the movie around how this ends. Of the 43 car and the 12 car going at it. With maybe a little bit of the 21 thrown in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and maybe the thought was they needed to use the car that Junior owned. So they needed the 12.
But that wasn't his car.
Oh, it wasn't?
I'm pretty sure he owned Cale Yarborough in that race for the 11 car. I think he was already running 11 with Yarborough. But I can't tell you who owned the Bobby Allison 12 car. But I love the look of it, man. Coca-Cola sponsorship. It looks like a can of caffeine-free Coca-Cola with that golden trim.
Junior owned it.
Did
we talked about that earlier. Bobby Allison was his driver.
Yeah. He owned the 11 and the 12?
I can't speak for the 11 off the top of my head, but he owned the 12.
Man, okay. Well, that's news to me. I thought I had researched that well enough, but maybe I didn't.
Junior Johnson did not own the 11. It was owned by Petty Enterprises, driven by Buddy Baker.
For realsy? Hold on a second. For reals? Man, I gotta look that.
Johnson eventually acquired the number and won 6 championships with it.
That's what everybody remembers.
He took it over in 73.
Okay, that's what it was, because I had initially thought, I was looking at one of the 73 North Wilkesboro races when I was trying to figure out what race that was.
The irony is that apparently Allison drove the 11 for Petty 4 times in 72. Transition, so what can you say?
They were banging on each other? Oh, but in this race, Junior owned the 12, right?
Yeah, Junior owned the 12. And then, yeah, I was going to make a joke. I'll keep to myself.
Yeah, sure. 6, 7, 11, 12. I don't know.
Yeah. Where were we at? Okay, so they're at Hickory. He's got his car that he bought. I think it was, 00? Is that right?
Yep. Buckshot.
Yeah, well, pre-Buckshot. But it blew up just like Buckshot. and didn't make it to the end of the race. And he's very frustrated. And at the same time, Rick Penny, the old DW, he has issues too, and he gets into it with his owner, Burton Colt. Yeah, it's very confusing. But anyways, this opens up the spot for eventually Jeff Bridges to take over
25
Colt's car, the 25, which will no longer be the 25.
It turns into the 12 in the next. But the funny, do you notice that Rick Penny is in that white uniform with the red, blue, and yellow stripes, which is what Bridges wears in the next race, and it is what Bobby Allison wore in real life. That is a neat little detail I saw.
Oh yeah, until he won the race and takes his Coca-Cola jacket over his Goodwrench suit because it was a Coca-Cola car.
Oh, the media. The sponsorship in this movie, very interesting. There's a whole lot of Coca-Cola product placement. It's kind of subtle until it's not.
Well, yeah, they were the current sponsor for Johnson's car. He was executive producer.
There's a whole lot of STP in 2, even when it doesn't have to be. Like the guys at the garage, they wear STP jackets.
Yeah, even though they don't have STP sponsorship.
They just love that STP look, baby. That's right. Yeah, they're Kyle Kingman fans.
Yeah. So ultimately, that's when he sells his soul to the American dream and becomes the true last American hero. And he goes to work for the man. And that's when we get our final race in Martinsville.
But Bert's a weird team owner. Like, he tries to tell Junior before he starts the race, you're going to do exactly what I tell you to do when I tell you to do it.
Because all NASCAR drivers want to hear that.
How does that even work?
I mean, I guess it works now, but it doesn't work back in the day.
It's one thing if you're talking about team orders at a drafting track, but just go up there and take the lead, right?
I mean, I guess his thought process was don't use up your equipment, but...
Well, that's fair. Yeah, sure.
He doesn't quite say it like that.
Harry Hyde quality. We're talking about Days of Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah. So, ultimately, this race, he wins. Like I said, the plot's not real deep in this movie. And you got Moonshine, you got the Pit Lizard, and you got Jeff Bridges winning the race.
Remind me of what happens to the Pit Lizard, Miss Teschmacher, at the end of the race.
So, once she ditches Kyle Kingman...
Who's married, we should add, right?
Yes. Then Junior Jackson, approaches her after the race and basically confirms, hey, you're not with that other guy anymore, are you? But they had already had relations at this point. So I think he's ready to get serious. And then the Dave Bear DW lookalike comes up. Yeah. The true lookalike.
I remember that.
Rick Penny's got the personality, but Davey's got the look. And she's with him now. And she walks off. It says, oh, I'm always going to remember you and cheer for you.
Why'd she hook up with him?
No idea. He didn't win the race. So, I don't know. know.
Oh, man. Yeah, poor Darrell, he raced in the 70s, but he didn't have his big success until he got with Junior in the 80s. So, I don't know, maybe...
There shouldn't be a DW reference in this movie just because he really was later on. But, man, he had the look of DW in that shot.
Jaws.
Yeah.
I like the fight they almost get into at the motel, but it just doesn't go anywhere. You expect it's going to be a big payoff later in the movie.
Yeah, no budget for that. Budget for that. But he wins the race and gets his terms where he'll get half the purse, and he gets to have his own crew. But he's using Bert's equipment, obviously. And the movie ends.
Yeah, it feels like it's over a little bit soon.
You know what also feels like it's over a little bit soon? The Wikipedia page on the plot.
Oh, what happened?
It doesn't give the ending to the movie.
That's your job to go in there and write it in.
All right, so it starts off, Junior Jackson's a restless young man dealing with moonshining. Next paragraph, outstanding driver, enters the demolition derby, eventually gets into it with the owner of the track.
Right? Third place.
Yeah, I think so. Then he's given valuable advice on how to get into the Hickory race by Marge. During the race, Junior does well for a while, but eventually his overtaxed engine blows. He needs to buy his racing car and pay for its upkeep and also provide for his brother and 3 friends who serve as pit crew and travel companions. Burton Colt, owner of a team that has not won any races lately, offers him a chance to drive. Colt insists that Junior have to use the team's crew. Junior declines the offer. To raise money, he spends the night transporting moonshine. Father does not approve. His mother also doesn't want him to race because she thinks it's too dangerous. A lesser complication for Junior to deal with is that Marge is very fond of him, but she's also attracted to other top drivers on the stock car circuit. And then it ends. That's the end of the Wikipedia. That's the end of the plot. They didn't watch the last 30 minutes of the movie.
You got to put another paragraph or 2 in there, and you got to put a little subtle hyperlink on Marge in one of those sentences and the term pit lizard. So when you click on it, It'll take you to the definition of pit lizard.
If there's not a Wikipedia page for pit lizard, I'm going to have to make one.
Yes, you got to work that into.
Usually when I edit things on Wikipedia, they reject me because I'm being a smartass. But
yeah, but Wikipedia ought to embrace that. This is the era of the smart-A. In fact, my favorite quote in this movie is probably when Junior is getting beat on a bit by old Calvin or Teeny or whatever the rat-faced deliverance-looking guy is in the crew when he starts to make fun of Jackson Sr. being in the jail. And weirdly, the whole conversation is about, like, going to a camp and having sex with possibly underage, out-of-state ladies. But the quote is, when Junior's had enough of this guy, and he tells him, "Don't let your mouth go writing checks that your A can't cash."
No, it's a great saying in life, and everyone should remember that.
It should, yeah.
I mean, it's a solid life lesson. And unfortunately, kind of shoehorned in with a scene that wouldn't work today.
Well, I mean, Junior wasn't talking about doing that. It's all the knucklehead friends of his. But it's convincing, I think, when he grabs him by the lip and maybe part of the nose. They really got the camera in there to let that sit a little bit. And I love the Kmart scene. Man,
you just miss Kmart.
70. Well, I miss 70s. I wasn't around for 70s Kmart. I liked 80s Kmart. I liked 90s Kmart. After that, it got a little bit sketchy, to put it lightly.
No, they went the way of roses. I don't know if you had any roses about there.
I don't even know what that is. No.
Oh, it's as Kmart is to Walmart, Roses is to Kmart.
Really? There was a knockoff version of Kmart?
Oh yeah, it's like if the Dollar General got some private equity funding and expanded to take up full-size stores and have room. It's
wow.
Roses. Yeah.
I didn't know they had devices where you could just walk in. In the 70s, you could just walk in these little things and make a wire recording of yourself. Then I guess you put it in the mail to send it to somebody. No, it was an RPM record. Sorry, it was a 45 RPM record. But supposedly it would only be a minute long. That's all it could handle. And I timed it when Junior is recording a message to his family, and it's 2 minutes almost exactly. Even though he threw it away, it would have only got half of what he tried to say.
Maybe that's why he threw it away. It got a recording error at the end.
Yeah.
So, how are we going to rate this?
Well, it seems like we got to do something with moonshine, but I don't know a whole lot of things to do other than jugs, plastic milk jugs. I will say one thing before we get on the rating. It's weird to me, you watch a 70s piece of media, movie, TV show, whatever, and a lot of them, because cars are really big in the 70s, and car movies are a big deal, and they want to tap into that American heritage of moonshine runners. But was that even something anybody got in trouble for in the 70s? Or was it just like local ordinances you were violating if you were making it and selling it and maybe not paying taxes on it?
I don't know if in the 70s it was a big thing or not. Maybe it was just the mythology of it.
Because, Dukes of Hazzard, they would run shine for Uncle Jesse. And I assume Burt Reynolds did a movie about moonshine. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. And, I don't know. Do not know. So we got moonshine jugs. We do pit lizards.
We don't want to do pit lizards. This movie had one pit lizard for everybody. I'm surprised Rick Penny didn't hook up. Rick Penny didn't hook up with her.
That's true. That is true. You could do car number changes. You could do...
No, that's lame.
I agree. Moonshine jugs. I think that might be it. I don't know.
Yep. Plastic milk jugs turned to moonshine jugs.
There we go. So I think I like everyone in this movie. They all have a unique charm, even though I wish their names were a little more creative so I could know which one's supposed to be who. And that being said, and I'm a big Jeff Bridges fan, let's be clear. And I just can't go above 2 moonshine jugs.
Wow. That's an indictment from you.
It is. I just feel like they really dropped the ball or lost the tire when it came to progressing from the short track to Hickory to Martinsville and just the driver continuity. And I watched it a second time today, kind of a speed run. But when I was watching it the first time, it was a lot of work keeping up with who's supposed to be who.
Yeah, it is.
And especially because you had have these in the car driver shots, but you couldn't see who the actual car was. So you weren't really sure what they were driving. So it was real confusing, especially with the people with everyone who's not Jeff Bridges and to some extent Kyle Kingman, trying to figure out who anyone else is and what they're driving. This was pretty difficult. So, and that bothers me. If you're going to make a NASCAR movie, you got to get that right. The plot's okay. Again, are we supposed to say that he was the last American hero at the beginning of the movie or by the end? Like, I don't know what the moral of the story is. Maybe there isn't one. I don't know. I think Bridges is great. I think his dad's great. I think it's amazing to see Gary speaking coherently, and it's just it's a fun movie. But I can't give it more than 2. Like, I doubt that this is going to be in my top 2 or 3 or 4 of our little racing movie list that we're doing.
So even though on the question of thumbs up or down, you're giving it the down?
I would encourage people to watch this movie. It's got a good pace to it. If there were more movies like this, I'd probably encourage the other ones first. I would encourage this more, I think, as a young Jeff Bridges movie more than I would a good NASCAR movie or racing movie.
All right. Here's an idea I just wanted to throw out to you. You said the cast is great, and I agree with that, but are the characters great that they play?
So, I think Junior's family is. I think Marge is good. The first track owner, Ned, Betty, he's good. But all the characters introduced for Hickory and Martinsville outside of Marge, I can't say they're great characters, even though the actors do a good job with what they got.
There's a few people who show up and you think they're going to be a bigger character than they are, like the track owner at Hickory, who gives Junior a hard time. And I assume he employs Marge, so you'd think there'd be more of a dynamic there between the boss and the employee. But I think he's out of the movie after his little scene with Junior and the license and the rules.
Yeah, I believe so too. And I think it's implied that Marge kind of quits her job, if I'm not mistaken, because she didn't go back in time. I may have missed that, maybe convoluting some different plots. But yeah, I mean, there's no reference to the Hickory owner again. And I don't know why you couldn't have just had in kayfabe world, have the owner of the tracks be the same person,
Which would not have been
true in real life anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like they just kind of made it a little more convoluted than they needed to on that. Plus, I don't know, the cars were really confusing going from race 2 to race 3. So.
Oh yeah. I was thrown by that. Do you think there's any cameos of real NASCAR drivers or retired drivers or personalities? Because they weren't in the cast, but at the Hickory race, it didn't sound like him, but it looked like Ned Jarrett was on the track announcer PA.
There was a few times where they mentioned drivers were in certain positions, and I think they referenced real drivers, and I don't know if we were supposed to see the real cars or not because no one was driving the car they're supposed to. I mean, I guess you could say the entire stock footage for the final race was cameos.
Yeah, but there's no lingering shots on anybody. Like, they don't get a Stan Lee line or anything.
No.
Is it my time to put a rating on this thing now?
I think so.
I had complimented Stroker Ace, if for no other reason for it to exist. It captured very high-quality film footage of an early 1980s NASCAR event, Top Series. I think for some reason that means it's worthwhile for a film to exist, even if nothing else is quality. So I'm thankful to capture a NASCAR Top Series race from 1972 in vivid color, because you don't see a whole lot of that. And I don't know that I'd ever seen those footage shots until I saw the end of this movie. And they say 1972 was the first year of NASCAR's modern era, when they went from having almost 50 events a year to close to 30. And when they did a few other things with the rules. So that's great. We get some kind of footage from that time period that's not grainy, black and white stuff you'd see on some, I don't know, Nickelodeon film projector or something. So that's great. I'm glad it exists.
Well, and I will say, too, I think that they did record this footage themselves.
Yeah.
So it's stock footage, but it wasn't broadcast. It was
They showed
recorded.
up to film the movie parts, and they were fortunate to get the 12 car doing well, and they were fortunate to get an iconic rival car doing well, and they got enough footage, and they got a few wrecks on film too, which make it into the movie. They're not really focused on like Stroke Race did with that stupid 77 car. I wonder if it's the same 77 car that we saw in an earlier race.
Maybe.
As I tried to suggest with you, the cast is great. I don't know which movie, this or Stroke Race, has the bigger name cast. Who do you think's more famous ultimately, Jeff Bridges or Burt Reynolds, from hindsight?
Oh, I would say, I mean, Burt Reynolds is a bigger star. Now,
certainly at his peak.
Jeff Bridges got Tron. I mean, they didn't really, I wouldn't say they overlap too much. Jeff Bridges is like 22 years old in this movie. I mean, in the 50s, I think Burt Reynolds was already playing a Native American.
Yeah, he was probably in his 40s when he did Stroke Race, early 40s then.
He was, I looked it up. It was either late 30s or early 40s. I did look that up.
All right. So a critique I have with this movie, and I said a little bit earlier when I said it feels like a part one, related to that are several evidences they drop that different characters are supposed to have more to them that meets the eye, but they're never paid off in the plot thread. So I go all the way back to the opening of the movie when Mr. Elroy Sr., he's getting his moonshine still destroyed by the police captain, whatever, Collins. Now, Junior has a nickname for him, cat expletive Collins, but when Junior disrespects, the first thing he did was he tried to run him off the road on a roadblock, and it really threw Collins into the mud and got him real mad, and Collins decided he was going to take the vengeance out on the senior. He knew he had the still, but it seemed like up to that point he was letting him work the still, but when Junior made that run, that sort of pushed it to a thing where he had to make a statement. And he goes and he's chopping up the still, and he and Elroy and Collins are having a conversation. And Collins is kind of he's a bit downcast. His guys are ripping it up, and he even has to say, "Do you think I enjoy this?" And then the dad says, "No, I don't, but there's other ways to make a living." And then Collins tries to impress upon him again about, "You're going to keep doing this till your whole family's in jail," like it's an endless loop. And then when, I guess before Junior left, he insulted Collins there. And he was corrected by his father, or rebuked by his father. He said, "You show Collins some respect." So I feel like there was something in the plot originally that was supposed to be an arc, or maybe the backstory, between the senior Jackson, and Collins. Like maybe they had a history, and maybe that was going to pay off to some degree later in the story, especially when you have that lawyer guy come in and he talks about the more money you can give, the more privileges you get. And then he let it drop that, everybody in the county, whatever their position, judge or police or whatever, they're also drinking the moonshine. They've got their own jugs stashed away. So they probably don't want to eliminate it. They have to put up just enough of an appearance to convey a sense of order and respect. But I don't think anything ever came of that, do you?
No. I mean, if anything, I feel like in some ways the movie's kind of broadcasting that, Junior Johnson's the last American hero, but aren't we all the last American hero in our own eyes?
No, I don't think so. But
in terms of the dad and the cop, they're doing their thing, and you respect the people who are doing things their way.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just like this idea of you're respecting what the other people are trying to do. But then you got old DW Rick Penny saying, "What a fool!" All the rookies think that. But I don't know. This movie's all over the place in terms of what it's trying to say it's about.
Yeah. So those are just little things that I thought would have come to something, and then you get really no resolution in the sketchy team owner, who it seems like he's one of the better team owners historically, but it sounds like he's been cutting corners of late on the competition side. And he gets the hot young driver in Junior, who gets him a win finally, first of the year or something. But he's not quite willing to treat him like a star driver. And then you got, again, that whole narrative about, did he sell out on his principles to drive for him? And even though he negotiated a better deal with the prize money, we don't know how that ends up. And we get a whole lot of hints early on that Junior thinks, ideally, real men ought to run their own teams and be their own boss. But there's no payoff. And it just leaves us at that. And it feels like it's a part one of a story that would ultimately culminate with him owning his own team, whether he drives for it or not. But we don't get it. And so it's a fault of the film. The whole deal was with Marge. She's definitely no Pembroke Feeney, to make another Stroker Ace reference. She's not even a Marge Simpson, right? She doesn't stand by her man. She has several of them. Oddly enough, it seems like the movie ought to end with an interaction between Junior and his father after he does get released from jail. Of him finally making it without doing moonshining, but making it on his own terms.
Yeah, I mean, they could have had the father at the track and had that scene, but they chose not to. Yeah, so you're saying that this is a Rocky movie that needed a Creed sequel?
I don't think so, no. Huh. What?
Like, he needs to own the team of the next movie with having his own driver.
Oh, maybe. It just those plot threads needed to pay off eventually.
Yeah. I think, though, in 1973, if they had had a sequel, it would have been more akin to Rocky V than the first Creed movie, though.
Well, for those reasons, as much as I do like all the action and what is on screen, I can't go much above a 3. I do give it at least a 3. 3 moonshine jugs full. And then the question is, you have a 4th jug. How much, when Junior gets pulled over when he's running the fake gasoline fuel truck, how much does the police officer say is still in there?
About an inch.
An inch? So I give it 3 full jugs, and then a 4th jug with 1 inch of moonshine in it.
It's a very generous rating. So I will offer this up to you. If you feel like 2 jugs is too low, I am willing to go 4 shots.
How much is a shot of moonshine?
I'll go 9 shots.
Is it a shot glass of moonshine? Is that the equivalent here?
So a modern day bottle is like 16 to 17 shots. So I'll give you 32 shots or 2 bottles.
Goodness.
Or 2 jugs. I feel like the jug's probably is bigger than the bottle. That's the equivalent. I'll give whatever one you want. 2 jugs, 36 shots. Yeah. And I will say Jeff Bridges is of the age. They could make the sequel.
Talking about young Jeff Bridges, he does not look like a young Junior Johnson at all. He actually looks, if you go back and see the photos of 1972 Bobby Allison, he's got more of a Bobby Allison quality to him.
Well, I mean, I think you could argue that Junior Johnson does not have a silver screen face, so to speak.
No, he's a good old boy. He looks like the comic relief friend that you see in a lot of sitcoms, like the kind of guys that Eason Suplee used to play before he got super in shape, back when he was in his fat, not dumb, but like good-hearted, but sort of a goofy, intelligent kind of guy.
I always thought Junior Johnson looked kind of funny because he's got this white hair and he's black eyebrows. And it's like...
Well, let me try to remember the actor's name that he reminds me of, the real-life Junior. This is the guy who's most famous for the film Full Metal Jacket, but he's played in a lot of other stuff. You know the kind of guy I'm trying to...
I think I do.
Vincent D'Onofrio. He was in the Jurassic World movie for a little bit, too.
Okay. Oh, Kingpin?
I mean, he's much older now, but...
The Kingpin? Yeah.
Younger
He
Vince.
plays Kingpin now. Yeah, he plays Kingpin now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I've forgotten he was in Jurassic World. It's been a long time since I've seen Full Metal Jacket.
That is a franchise that never realized its film potential. It had 1 great movie, and I would say 2 highly watchable movies. And beyond that, Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.